Well, we are here with someone that, in my opinion, does not even need an introduction. But since you guys can't see her, I'll have to give it. Scheana Shay.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you. So, new season of Vanderpump Rules. We are going. We have some new cast members. I want to talk a little bit first about Brett because he claims you are a bad kisser. So how would you rate his kissing?
Unmemorable.
Oh, okay.
I remember it happening. Don't remember any detail about it.
Well, because I think you said it was like kind of like a drunken whatever.
Yeah, it was like 5 a.m. like saying goodbye.
Right.
It was nothing.
Right. Well, I mean, and it's also like we've talked about on the podcast, what qualifies a bad kisser? Like everyone has a different opinion of what a good kiss versus a bad kiss is.
I mean, that's the first time I've ever heard that. And I had like 10 other people come to my defense. I mean, mostly all of the girls on the show.
I was going to say, who was it from the show that came to your defense?
Kristen, it was like all of them. They're
okay.
Like,
well,
Lala, Stassi.
The tribe has spoken then,
Yes.
and he is incorrect about that.
Absolutely.
Okay, fair. So a lot of conversation has happened this season, too, with Max about, you know, the whole idea of being boy crazy. But why is there this double standard where, like, guys can be into girls, but girls into guys? Like, where does this come from?
I hate the double standard thing. And there was even, I mean, that was a much longer conversation him and I had. And the first thing he said, he goes, well, I mean, I'm girl crazy. Like, it's not a bad thing. I'm like, but you didn't say it in a positive way.
Right.
It wasn't like, you know, she really likes attention or whatever. He was like, yeah, I mean, we all know she's boy crazy. And I'm like, okay, you know, in his defense, like, not completely wrong, but coming from him, I felt like someone who I had a past with should just have a little more respect and not say things like that came off as negative.
Right. Well, and you also then come through with the receipts with like, these are all the things that you texted me. And so we kind of come to the conclusion that he's a bit of a fuckboy.
Yeah, that is who he became after me.
Right, right. And so he kind of admits it too. You have like that conversation with him. So do you think we're starting to see him perhaps change his ways with Dayna so far this season or?
No.
Okay.
Stay tuned.
Fair enough. Well, speaking of boys, I want to ask about the new relationship in your life. He is in the room with us. Brock, hello. So tell us a little bit more. Is he full-time living in Australia or?
No, he lives in San Diego.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
And that's where we met. We just took a trip to Australia together because he was playing in the Rugby 9 World Cup out there.
Okay. So it's like a bit of a long distance situation then. So
I mean, 2 hours is long distance.
Right.
But if you think about it, Marina Del Rey to like West Hollywood could be 2 hours in rush hour.
I was just going to say, I mean, given where you live, like whatever. Did you guys spend any time in Palm Springs? Because I think you just recently bought a property there as well.
Yeah. So we did Thanksgiving there for a few days and that was fun. I try and be there every week. I'm actually going back on Friday to see Tyler Henry. He's at Casino Morongo.
Oh, cool.
So excited for that. So between Marina Del Rey, San Diego, and Palm Springs, I mean, I'm used to the 2 hour drive. It's nothing.
Right. Yeah, that's true. All right. Well, let's get a little bit into everything that's been going on with Dayna so far this season.
Yeah.
So I think we see you training her, and I think there's a bit of maybe hazing going on.
Yeah.
But is it sort of like a rite of passage? Because we saw that happen to you.
Exactly.
Okay.
I mean, it was just, you know, I wasn't going to do it to her, Brett, and Charli, but I had to pick one of the three to do the side work, and it was the one I wasn't really vibing with.
Right. And so do you think that, you know, she's obviously receiving that, okay, well, somebody's going to have to do the side work and all of that stuff. But I think there's an extra layer of complication with everything with Max, right?
And the thing is, it had nothing to do with Max and everything to do with the fact that everyone's going to her comedy show. And I'm like, I had a show in Vegas and most people didn't come to that. So it had zero to do with Max.
Interesting.
But that's hard to explain.
So it had a little bit more to do with like other friends too. It was a lot bigger than what's being shown.
Yeah, I felt like she kind of came in like a hurricane and was like, okay, the guy you used to date, your best friend, this person. It was just like one after another. And I'm like, can you get your own life and like stop taking people out of mine?
Right, I see that.
But it was not a jealousy thing with Max. I love Max to death. He's a very good friend of mine. He is not someone I would set up with any of my friends.
Fair.
But I'm just like, girl, trust me. don't want him. That is all you. You do him. I'm good.
You mentioned her comedy show. What did you think about her stand-up?
The little bit I saw, I thought was funny.
Yeah, it was good, right?
Yeah, and she actually has a show at the end of this month that I'm going to go to because I haven't seen her live yet.
Okay. Yeah, I thought she was pretty good. She got a little dark towards the end, but I like that little dark humor.
She has that dark, dry humor. So it's like if you get that, then it's hilarious.
Yeah, totally. We talk about a little bit how she's not wearing a bra and it kind of bothers you. So like, I don't have boobs. I don't know the experience that you go through, but like, is it because it's Dayna, or is it just like, you're like, wear a bra?
No, wear a bra. I mean, back in the day, I remember Stassi and Kristen would never wear a bra with a Saint Tropez dress. And I'm like, wear a bra. The material is so thin. It's see-through. And also, like Charli said, you know, like higher to heaven, higher the tips. Like push those babies out. I mean, I'm all about bras and push-up bras and padded bras. So just looking, I'm like, but you see it. And there was a photo posted on Instagram, and there were so many comments of how you could see her nipples.
Right.
And I know nipples are in. My little sister tells me that all the time, but not when you're serving food.
That's true. I mean, it's a better business thing to have them up and out. Yeah. All right. Fair.
Yeah. But she has great boobs, so I'll give her that.
All right. We see the girls just went on a trip to Utah. It was like a trip with Stassi.
Yeah.
How did you find out about that? Because you were not invited.
I saw it on Instagram.
So that was the first time you saw about it too.
Yeah.
Why do you think they didn't invite you?
I don't know. I love them all, and we're all cool, and we're friends. I mean, we're not the closest necessarily, but they have their clique, and you know, I kind of feel like, I guess Ariana, Kristen, and I kind of have ours, and Brittany's in the middle, and then Dayna's kind of in the middle, and yeah, but I mean, also with friend groups, you know, I mean, you don't have to be invited on every trip. Like, I don't invite every single one of my friends over every Tuesday night to watch the show. And I've kind of gotten that same thing. Are you mad at me? You didn't invite me over tonight. I'm like, because I invited 10 other people. I didn't know I had to invite you to everything I do.
Right.
So I get it. And you know what? I couldn't have won anyways. So
do you think that there is sort of like a layer of competition in the friend group between different women?
I think there always has been.
Yeah.
I don't think that's ever going to change. A lot of us have very similar interests and career goals. Some are doing it better than others, but I think there is always going to be that competitive factor with us.
Being in the spotlight for as long as you have been, do you feel there's also a pressure as a woman to change your appearance? I mean, you see so many of like the people on our shows doing all sorts of different procedures and that kind of stuff. Do you feel that pressure in your life?
It's not necessarily a pressure, more of a preference.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't like my face to move on camera or in life. So I've been doing Botox for almost a decade now.
Right.
That's not something that anyone has like pressured me into doing. It's something I wanted to do. I just plumped up my lips a little bit because I was watching the beginning of the season. I was like, oh, my lips were a little fuller then. I kind of liked that, but I don't feel any pressure. It's just personal preference, and I like to stick needles in my face sometimes.
Right. Well, it's like, you know, you moisturize, you wash your face, you do all these things. It's just like a little Botox here and there. It doesn't hurt anybody.
I mean, I'm dating a guy who's 29, so I got to keep up with him, you know?
Right. So in this episode that we just saw, Kristen says to Lala that she doesn't want to be single because it sounds like Scheana is single and ready to mingle.
Oh, I was.
Oh, so can't you also be single and not ready to mingle? I think that's where Kristen is getting caught up.
That's the thing with myself. I had been single from like 19 to 25, and then there was Shay, Rob, and then single. Whatever, that doesn't count. But I had many years of being single, whereas Kristen, I've known her for a decade. She's never been single longer than she is right now.
Yeah.
So I think just as an adult, she didn't know how to be on her own. But now, as you'll see as the season goes on, she bought her first home. I think she's really coming into her own and being more of an independent woman. And I think that's going to be really interesting to see because you've never seen that.
Yeah. Well, even in this episode, I think she's like moving into her new house, but then there's suddenly a box that says like Carter, important stuff. And you're like, okay. And then she's like, we had sex this morning. And you're like, what? This is not being single, Kristen.
But the thing is, you know what? It's her life. And some of the girls get so bothered by her choices, but I'm like, it doesn't affect your life personally. If you're sick of hearing her bitch about it, I understand that. Then you can distance yourself. But at the end of the day, whatever makes Kristen happy makes me happy. And if Carter's not making her happy, then you know what? She needs to make that decision on her own.
Yeah, no, that's very true. And that's like kind of what we've been talking about on the podcast too, is that like, why is everyone so upset about this because it's like Kristen's journey. So as friends, you should kind of be there to support her at every step of the way. You can give her advice and be like, break up with him. But it's sort of like you have to kind of show up as a friend.
Same.
And I don't think anybody's really been doing that for her.
No, I feel like Kristen and I get treated differently than maybe Brittany and Lala. And like relationships and different situations, certain girls are more sensitive to others than they are with Kristen and I. But I think that's even one of the things that has kept Kristen and I so close for so long. Like we've all had our ups and downs. Every single person on the show, except probably for Brittany. Everyone has always loved Brittany. Right. She's amazing. But, we've all had our ups and downs, but at the end of the day, we all love each other and we all come back together. And it's just this crazy world there's nothing normal about what we do.
Right. Oh, that's true.
Like filming, reliving, watching, judging, it's just, there's nothing normal about it. But I think it keeps us so close, and we know that this show wouldn't be possible without any of us. We all bring something so different to it.
Totally. Whose relationship over the last 8 seasons, whose relationship have you seen change the most?
Ooh, I definitely think Jax and Brittany have grown a lot as a couple after that season of him being a bad boy. But Tom and Ariana, I just want to say, has always been my couple's goals, from their friendship blossoming into them buying a house together. It's just they've grown and matured so much in their relationship, and they don't have to get married. They don't have to have kids. They may change their mind one day. But regardless, it's like that's a relationship that I'm like, couple's goals.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Going back to Jax and Brittany for a second, in the most recent episode, you guys are on the bachelor party, and that sign comes out. Brittany, don't do it. What was it like being in that room with her freaking out after having such a great night? You guys were having so much fun.
I know.
And then it went left.
We were all kind of in shock because I'm like, we're putting ourselves in your position. I'm like, I would not have been upset about that. Right. It's just a funny thing they do. And one of the girls with us was like, oh, my friends were just at this exact club last week and they did the same thing. They do it for everyone. I think Brittany felt like it was a personal thing and they knew her past and were like telling. And I was like, no, they literally say that to everyone. It's like, happy birthday, don't do it. It's just like, it's the same thing they say to everyone on the sign. But I felt so bad because for her, it just brought back that past trauma. And she was just like, but everyone should be happy. We're like, it's not that, but that was her weekend, so whatever we needed to do to console her and just be like, we get it, we understand. And it got better, but it took some time.
Well, and then Jax came in with leftover pizza. It wasn't an actual pizza for you guys. It was what they didn't finish.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's a gentleman-ish.
But that was a great trip. We had a good time.
What if there was a Vanderpump Rules Vegas spinoff?
I tried to pitch that 2 years ago. They missed so much good content when I was out there. I mean, single Scheana in Vegas doing a show, that was a life-changing experience for me, and I am so sad that not even 1 second was ever able to be shown of that.
Right. So what would it be? Give us a quick pitch right now. Your dream Vegas spinoff.
Ooh, I think it would be with James Kennedy as well. I would love to have him have a resident DJ job, for myself to be headlining in a show, to maybe have the crossover with Vanderpump Cocktail. Oh. But I think there is just so much in Vegas that could happen on a show, but I kind of feel like we missed the boat on that. I'm not single Scheana in Vegas anymore, and that was the fun, crazy that you would have wanted to see, but I still think there could be something interesting there if you throw in James and a couple other people.
Okay, well, what could have been? I mean,
I guess we'll never know.
All right, to wrap up, we have a couple questions from our Bravo insiders for you. So Nicole wants to know, as a fellow early 30s divorced woman, it is sometimes hard to not let that failure define you. How have you allowed the divorce to become a learning experience?
I learned to never settle, and nothing against Shay at the time. He was my best friend, and that was what I saw forever. But there were a lot of red flags I ignored. And so even in my relationship now, it's so unfair to my amazing boyfriend that I have past trauma. And if I see, I'm just I have automatically thought that because Shay did these things, every other guy is going to do these things. And it's kind of messed me up mentally and emotionally a little bit, but I've learned from it and I've grown from it. And I just know things to look out for and what I deserve and just not to settle.
Okay. The second part of that question was, are the anniversary dates, wedding, engagement, especially hard?
No, it's just another day on the calendar. I mean, last year on what would have been my wedding anniversary, I sent Shay a Bitmoji and we both had a good laugh.
Oh my God. So it kind of takes time to move on from that, and then the dates just become regular
Totally.
days.
It's just another date.
Okay, that's fair. All right, Nicole, that's the answer to your question. We have Alethea S. says, have you had any contact with Brandi Glanville?
Not since my last Watch What Happens when she tweeted something untrue.
There's the answer to that question. Colleen W. wants to know, what is the secret to making your famous enchiladas so good?
Well, I can't tell you. It's a secret.
Give us a hint.
Okay, it has to do with a special ingredient I get back in Azusa.
Okay.
So it's not something that other people can replicate.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Colleen, you got to go find that. All right. Thank you so much, Scheana.
Thank
we really
you.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming.
Always fun to be here.